Hey, good afternoon, everyone. Again, this is Charlie Pankey, Sierra Rig Now podcast. Thank you for joining us again this week. Hope the Sierra is in your future, or if you got out this weekend, we hope you enjoyed the first snow this last week in Tahoe. If you got up high, you may have seen some remnants here and there around the Tahoe Basin, at least. I just got back from traveling, but I'm excited today to bring the show because we got a great guest from the Tahoe Backcountry Alliance with us today. And we're just super excited to start talking about snow and backcountry features and travel around Tahoe area. So before we get started, we can't do any of this without our sponsors. Visit Carson Valley, our home base for all of our adventures. And so I'd like to invite you to watch this intro from Carson Valley. All right, we do love the Carson Valley, our home base. I have not gotten out and done enough fall hiking. I've had some family weddings and travel after my Yosemite trip this September. And I'm already working on our snow edition that'll be out in November. Looking forward to bringing you some snow and winter adventure. We had snowshoes are getting pulled out for me. But when I start talking about winter around Tahoe Basin, backcountry always comes up. And so since I'm not an expert skier by any means in the backcountry, I went looking for Anthony here. Anthony, I'm not even going to try to pronounce your last name because I'm going to get it wrong, but I'm going to let you introduce yourself. You're from the Tahoe Backcountry Alliance and a few other things. So
Sure.
Welcome.
Hey, Charlie. Yeah, thank you. Well, first off, last name is Cupaiuolo, 4 different vowels in a row. And it's not an easy one. And also just to backtrack real quick, it was cool getting to see that Carson Valley intro. I think I shot about half of the shots in that video.
Oh, there you go.
I do a lot of work with Visit Carson Valley. Great folks down there. I love the different recreation opportunities in Carson Valley. So even though I'm based up in Myers, I get down there a lot and family gets down there a lot. My daughter and I were riding on Clear Creek Trail just over a week or so ago.
That's a great trail.
So Carson Valley is awesome. But yeah, I'm executive director of Tahoe Backcountry Alliance, and that's a part-time role for me, and I've been doing that for just over 3 years. My primary work, I run a digital media outfit called First Tracks Productions. We do a lot of outdoor kind of adventure and lifestyle stuff, and stuff for various nonprofits in the region too. And I do a lot of work for TAMBA, our local trails org, and am an advisory board there as well. But yeah, we're here to talk backcountry and winter since it's coming up soon. So yeah, happy to.
And a little sneak preview. Anthony's work will be our cover of our winter edition. So I'm not even going to show it to you today, but you can look out for it. It's a great shot.
Thank you.
Tahoe Backcountry. You and I spoke and met last year, I think, for the first time, if not 2 years ago, and we were talking about, of all things, parking for Tahoe Backcountry at that time, and doing just a little review on what's going on in the Tahoe Basin as it starts to explode even further with our winter resorts and some of the parking measures that have gone on. Let's go and start with anything new in Tahoe Backcountry you guys would like to share before we deep dive into some of the fun stuff.
Sure. Yeah. There's a few things I'd love to highlight. One is real specific to parking. Obviously, I think most people in this region are familiar with Mount Tallac. It's one of the iconic mountains in the area. When you look at postcards for Lake Tahoe, you often see Mount Tallac in the background and the iconic cross. And it's a really popular destination for backcountry skiers and snowboarders, and also just snowshoers, people out there to hike in the winter. But there isn't great winter access. And in fact, people had been getting ticketed by CHP for parking alongside Spring Creek Road near Highway 89 for access. So we're fortunate to partner. The Forest Service has recognized this as an issue and partnered with them on a new parking lot that is going to be right there alongside Spring Creek Road and Highway 89. We actually have a kiosk that's showing up today to get assembled, to get in the ground, hopefully before the ground gets too cold. And Tahoe Backcountry Alliance is going to be managing it and paying for the plowing of that lot. Now this year, it's just going to be a dirt lot. It will get paved next year. And then, we'll continue to manage the lot and have it plowed every season. And it's really exciting because what's great about it is it provides public access to our public lands, which is super important. It's not, you don't have to be a backcountry skier or snowboarder to enjoy it. In fact, I'm sure throughout the day, people are going to stop there just to get out and play in the snow. And that's great too. There aren't enough opportunities for families to get out and just touch snow,
Yeah.
and to do so either free or inexpensively. We know how
Yeah. Just to
expensive
park
the
safely and to do that, right? So,
Exactly, and to do
yeah.
it in a place where you're off the main highway, off the main
Yeah.
road, because that's an issue too. Obviously, we're big fans of people getting out there and enjoying our public lands, but we want them to do it as safely as possible too. And sometimes some of the parking situations that we see, especially on that Highway 89 corridor through
Mhm.
the Camp Richardson area, along Emerald Bay area, it's not ideal, and
Not ideal at all. Yeah.
it's scary at times too. And
Yeah.
we're hoping we don't have any real serious incidents in those
Yeah,
zones.
I mean, that really is the key, right? Because I think, even I am a victim of my own, eyeballs sometimes. So you see, backcountry skiers, for example, because they're always in these back, hard to reach locations. And I know now that you've hiked in miles to get to these spots and take these photos and stuff. But the reality is you had to park someplace. And,
Right.
we may assume that there was a dirt road that you guys knew, but those are all buried under 3 to 4 feet of snow most of the winter, if not more. So
Yeah,
you
that
are parking out and hiking all the way in to go experience that type of environment.
Yeah, it's exactly right. I think, in the summertime, you don't have the issue of
Yep.
snow removal and Forest Service gate closures. So, although there's plenty of parking issues in the summer too, for a variety of other reasons in different zones, winter creates its own host of parking issues. So obviously the addition of snow and plowing, or the lack of plowing in certain places where Forest Service gates close during the winter, that creates access issues. So that's one of the things that Tahoe Backcountry Alliance was founded to try to
Hmm.
work on, and to work with the different land managers and agencies. I think that there was a recognition amongst many in the backcountry community about 8 to 10 years ago, when TBA was first getting started, is that people weren't trying to prevent people from enjoying their public lands, but they didn't know who we were, where we were going, those sorts of things. There was no unified voice for this user group, as there is for hikers with the Rim Trail Association, or mountain bikers with TAMBA. So there was a real need for that, and I think what's been really fun for me and exciting for me is watching the evolution of TBA. Whereas
Yeah.
the access issues are always key in
Mhm.
those sorts of parking things. But I think what's been cool is kind of our expansion of our definition of the word access,
Yeah.
and looking at access from a bunch of different ways, and looking at it from more of an equitable standpoint. And we could touch on this more detail later,
Yeah.
but we do some great work with kids programs now, and getting kids out on snow, and letting people check out snow park passes from area libraries for free and things like
Exactly.
that. So those sorts of things have been a really good addition to the work that TBA does.
That's great. Let me ask you real quick about transportation, then maybe we'll jump to kids
Yeah,
programs.
sure.
So I know there's been a lot of work in Tahoe to work with, eco-friendly transportation across the board for the resorts and stuff. Is the busing system, TART, and I forget the other name of the one up by Palisades there. Do they work with the backcountry guys? Will they drop you off at one of these lots so you don't have to drive, or is that something still that needs to be worked
It's
out in
still a little
Tahoe?
bit in the works. There are
Okay.
some opportunities in a few places, and slightly more on the northwest shore area than on the
Okay.
south shore. Well, I mean, we would love to see, and think that there's a real need to have buses running from the Y through Camp Rich and Emerald Bay corridor and back.
Absolutely.
During the summer and winter.
Hmm.
Also from the North Shore, from the Tahoe City Transit Center. There's a few issues in the area. In speaking of that, for example, the Tahoe City side, crossing over from uh, Placer into El Dorado County creates some issues with some of the
Gotcha.
transportation, and just certain boundaries and things like that. And here on the South Shore, we are getting some expansion. We are starting to see the buses move closer out into Myers and things like that,
Hmm.
but they're not fully there yet.
Yeah.
We'd worked for a number of years in instituting our own microtransit program, which was really small scale. And,
Yeah.
and I think the goal of our program was not so much to move a lot of people, because we didn't have the capacity to do so. We're not a transportation company. We're a
Right.
small
Exactly.
nonprofit. But it's more to get people thinking and talking about alternative ways to get to trailheads, and what's necessary to do so. And I think we've been successful in that, because now we're part of a bunch of different groups, discussion groups with land managers and other nonprofits. And I think, we're moving in the right direction. I think it's safe to say, and nobody would really argue with the thing. We're behind, and,
Yeah.
and we kind of took a little bit too long to get going on this. But there's a lot of people now working hard on this issue, and I think we're going in the right direction. It's just unfortunately going to take probably a few more years till we, have the opportunities to really get out to some of these recreation sites and jump on a bus to do so.
Yeah, right. Absolutely. Well, cool. That is fantastic news. I know that's something that we've talked about. The things that you guys plow these parking lots in Donner and different locations like that are helping immensely getting people off the roads and helping the issues with private property stuff. I do want to swing to your kids programs because I did go look at those online. And if you don't mind, I'll share a little story because something I've been thinking a lot
Please.
about for the hiking
Yeah.
generation as well. A couple of years back, working with Desolation Wilderness Volunteers in the spring, I ran into a gentleman. He was in his upper 70s, almost 80 years old, and he was heading into the backcountry for his daily backcountry ski trip on this one slope out of Fallen Leaf Lake there, kind of back behind Grass Lake there. And it really caught my attention that this gentleman's lived in Tahoe his whole life since he's in the 20s. He's been doing this on a daily basis since he retired. He does like every single day this trip. And we talk about in the hiking community about how we pass on to the next generation this love of a sport that, or a lifestyle that we've created for ourselves. When I saw your Washoe snowshoe program on your website, it got me excited. I used to volunteer in Mount Rose for the 5th and 6th grade snowshoe program. It was so awesome to be able to lead that experience with kids as a snowshoer. Maybe you can tell me a little bit about your backcountry experience, what you guys are doing there. I think it'd be great to share with the public.
Sure. Yeah. I've been fortunate to work with some different kids programs over the years. Going back to when I was much younger, I was a day camp counselor and a swim instructor and a lifeguard. So it's always been, important for me to just kind of help provide opportunities for kids to get outside wherever possible. And, a number of years back, Paula Smith, who is the Washoe Youth Expedition leader for the Washoe tribe, and she's also the juvenile probation officer for the tribe, which actually, a quick sidebar, makes a lot of sense when you think about it.
Yeah.
She took on this role a few years back, and I believe when she first started, there was 25, 27 kids on probation. Now they're down to 2 or 3, and this is in large part because of all the outdoor opportunities that she and her program provides. It's obvious when you give these kids these opportunities, they're more likely to stay out of trouble. They're more likely to stay on good behavior because they don't want to miss out on the next fun outdoor thing that's coming up, and they don't get to go if they're in trouble. Well, she reached out to me a number of years ago just on Facebook, I think, because she had seen some of my outdoor photos, and we started, a conversation well before I started working with TBA. And then once I took on my role with TBA, it just seemed like a natural way to try to work together because Paula had already gotten them involved in a bunch of different activities, but one thing that they hadn't been doing is cross-country skiing or snowshoeing and getting out for like human-powered recreation in the winter. So that looked like a clear opportunity for us. So we were able to secure some grant funding. We purchased about 50 pairs of cross-country skis and boots and poles, and maybe another 20 or 30 pairs of snowshoes. And we're able to provide that to Paula and her program outright. So it's not like something that we hold on to and they use when they're out with us, but something that they can use on their own too. And we've coordinated, a handful of days on snow where we go out and showcase how to use the gear, go out and play. And we also incorporate kind of an educational component to it too. We on a number of the days, we brought out Will Richardson from TINS, who's the Tahoe Institute of Natural Sciences. Yep. Really brilliant guy, smart guy, just can speak a ton about the different flora and fauna in the region. And so it's been fun bringing him out there too. And ultimately the main thing is just to make sure these kids are having fun, right? But if we could impart a little bit of an educational component and, talk about leave no trace and things like that too, then that's, important for us to build into it. So that's been pretty successful. And, we're going on, this year will be year 3 of that. And we're looking forward to more days on snow. And, I'm fortunate that in the summertime too, I get out with Paula and the kids on the bikes and got a chance to mountain bike out by Meeks Bay and here in Myers up at North Star this year too. So the biking stuff is always fun with the kids. And But with the success of the on snow portion, we look to expand that to a couple of different groups. And last year we started working with the Boys and Girls Club of Lake Tahoe, and plan to be working with them again too. And
Great.
The kid stuff is awesome, and it makes it just makes a ton of sense for who we are as an organization. It's hard to make the argument that we are focused on access issues if we're only focusing on access for backcountry skiers and snowboarders.
Correct.
Right?
I love that approach by you.
Yeah.
I love the approach. It's you said it a little earlier about this whole just access to snow and getting on the snow, right? That lifestyle change to get on the snow. Just that's it for all generations. Why it's small. I've said this many times. I absolutely love the ski community because you guys really are the epitome of a community, and you talk and communicate and celebrate together in all the skiing. And then as snowshoers, we're such kind of hermits. We like to be by ourselves and solo in the mountains. But it's true, sharing the parking area, sharing our love for what we do out in the snow is actually just as vital and important. So
it is, and there's no like correct way to be enjoying the snow, right? Like, obviously, like, other
safe.
than, causing damage and being, unsafe, but, cross-country skiing, snowshoeing, just going for a walk with nothing specific on your feet, and backcountry skiing and snowboarding, this is all good stuff, and it's all therapeutic and just all really important. And, along those lines, and, I know you're familiar with the different snow parks we have in the area, and, the snow parks, have been relatively inexpensive over the years, but just last year, their price increase went from $5 to $15 for the day pass and $25 to $40 for the annual. And I think for a lot of us, that's not prohibitive, but it becomes prohibitive for some. So that's why we looked for ways at how can we help people access these snow parks, basically for free. And there's a state park program where people can check out state parks passes from their libraries, but there was nothing like that for snow parks. So we reached out to California State Parks and said, well, could we do something like that? What if we bought a bunch of passes and set up a program? Could we work with area libraries to do that? And, they were like, yeah, why not? Which is great, right? Like, it's awesome really when you get these state agencies who, they often have restrictions and red tape to deal with and all, but they really were supportive and wanted to look for a way that they could make this happen. So, we did a pilot program last year with El Dorado County Libraries, and this year we're going to be expanding it to Placer and Nevada County too, so people can check out these snow park passes. And that's just another way, because I think that probably we're not looking to find out the exact demographics of who's using these passes, but it probably isn't going to be mostly backcountry skiers and snowboarders. Our guess is it's mostly family snow play, and that's awesome. Like that's super important for what
those are fantastic programs. It was kind of funny. My wife and I were just actually talking about recently because she went and got a library card for the first time in years. I go, hey, did you get you got a free state park pass? She goes, what are you talking about? He says, a couple years ago in Nevada, we copied California's state park pass program with that library card, which was fantastic. I go, that's just a great way for people who don't have the ability to fund the program through their own wallet to get access or be part of programs and not miss out. I think that's a great way of doing it.
Yeah, and again, you may get, we'd like to think, well, we probably won't know the specifics, but we'd like to think, that hopefully there's some kids getting a chance to get on snow who otherwise wouldn't, who now are addicted, and now they love it. And now it's like, oh yeah, the mountains are going to be a part of my life when I grow up.
Perfect.
And, that's what we want to see.
Absolutely. Okay, so let's switch gears here real quick. Let's talk about some mountains and some backcountry and talk about snow. I am not going to be, I'm a snowshoer, so I might get 4 miles in, but I'm not going any further than that on snowshoes. I get pretty tired.
That's solid, though.
That's pretty solid, right? Pretty good workout. But let's talk about from a maybe an early, maybe not quite beginner. Maybe they're good skiers but like the Tahoe Basin, coming from Sacramento, San Francisco, the Bay Area, they're coming to the Tahoe for the weekend. What's a great entry level backcountry location for visitors to the Tahoe Basin?
Yeah, well, I think first I'd like to suggest if you're looking to get into the backcountry and you haven't before, I think it's key to do a little bit of research on the safety gear that you need.
Safety gear is important.
You need an avalanche transceiver, shovel, probe, some knowledge on how to use those things. And the ideal way to get is to take a course. And there's a number of different places where you can take courses. There's private guiding groups, but also through Lake Tahoe Community College, and they do it really fairly inexpensively.
Yep.
To take what they call an Area 1 Avalanche course, and you really get a lot of background there. So that is what I would recommend first. But there are some kind of beginner-friendly areas. There are some spots that I think are, I never like to use the word safe, but I guess I'll say relatively safe. And I think the key with that is looking at terrain that is 30 degrees or less. Yep. Once you get above 30, 35 degrees, that's where you're looking at avalanche terrain. So if you're looking at terrain that's kind of in the more mellow area, that could be, something in kind of like in the Tahoe Basin in the Angora Burn area, or outside of the Tahoe Basin up on Luther Pass. There's some opportunities kind of in that area above the meadow. There's some steeper, legitimate avalanche terrain in that zone too. So that's where, having some knowledge of to what, avalanche terrain is in terms of the steepness, or even if you're in places where, hey, I might be on 25-degree terrain, but what is above you? Is there 40-degree terrain above you? And those are the sorts of things where, going out with people who have more experience than you, taking a course, things like that, those can be really beneficial. But, places out in Hope Valley where there's some more rolling terrain and it never gets really too steep, but those can provide some opportunities where maybe you got your skins on for a bit and you find a section where I can take my skins off here and put my split board together or ski down a couple hundred vertical feet and get going a little faster and that sort of thing. That's kind of the good way to kind of get yourself into it. Carson Pass has got some opportunities there, particularly on the south side, like heading out towards Winnemucca Lake. Yeah. There's some fun rolly terrain there, and then above Winnemucca Lake, you have some really serious terrain, some real backcountry terrain off of Round Top and the surrounding areas. But I think that's a really beautiful zone to get out to because you are really in the high alpine terrain when you're out there at Carson Pass.
But we're talking about safety. Carson Pass is an area where I take visitors a lot of time. That and Tahoe Meadow, a great place to take visitors. Lots of traffic, but just safer terrain. But even going up to Winnemucca Lake about 2 years ago, was going off trail a little bit into the deeper stuff, which I like to do. And I had a friend right behind me kind of fell through not a deep river, but into a creek and got wet. Yeah. Right. We found a soft spot. He was in a bush, fell through a bush, and it's like, just to be aware that those dangers exist in the backcountry and how to handle them is really important.
For sure, there's hazards that don't exist in the summer, and obviously the summer there's plenty of hazards too. But I think in terms of I think about what I put together in my backcountry pack. We mentioned the shovel, beacon, and probe, and the beacon is actually on your body and not in your pack. Right. But I carry emergency blankets and those little hand warmers that shake up because you never know. Lots of zip ties and belay straps, like a lighter, headlamp, food and water, obviously. So, there's lots of things that are important to have out there. Medical kit. I'm rattling off the top of my head, so I'm going to miss a few things.
No, that's good. You're good. You're good here.
It's worth doing some research on this as to, hey, what should I have in my pack?
Yep.
And then you just get in the habit of having all those things, and it's great. And you want to be the person that has all the stuff, because then, if someone in your group needs it, you'd be like, okay, I got that.
Got that covered. Exactly.
And so that's nice to be that person.
That's really great.
More people are going to want to get out in the backcountry with you if you're the person that brings the things.
100%. Yeah, we tend to go moonlight snowshoeing up in the Hope Valley area. It's a great place to go moonlight snowshoeing, really wide open, stay in the flats. You can stay away from the river pretty easy in there.
That's gorgeous. Yeah, that's awesome to hear. And what I would imagine for you with that experience is you're not really seeing anybody else when you're out there, I'm guessing, right? You have it to yourself, and that's special.
It's me and the 10 people who follow me around. It's a lot of fun. So
that's awesome.
Occasionally, you hear the coyotes at night. So that's a lot of fun.
I think and that's something that's neat with the backcountry skiing and snowboarding that I'm fortunate to be able to do is I think about some of the places that I go, which sometimes during the year, like the Emerald Bay Zone. And there's a lot of great backcountry skiing and snowboarding in that zone, and it's for advanced skiers and snowboarders for sure. This is not some.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. Now you go out. I know with your dog a lot. At least taking photos. Cause I see the photos of your dog, so you must enjoy the backcountry. Does it provide any challenges or anything extra you got to think about when you take your pets out in the backcountry? Mm-hmm. Yep. Savvy. Yes, exactly. Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, that's cool. Yep. Yeah. Yep. Yep. No, by then it's frozen. Yeah. Anything at all. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Help keep it clean. Yep, appreciate that very much. Hey, you wouldn't believe it. We're almost on time, out of time here for our show today. I think you and I could probably have another episode. I do want to show this real quick. I screen recorded your guys' site here because I want people to know they can go to your site to find. So here we have the Tahoe Backcountry Access Zone map. That's available on TahoeBackcountryAlliance.org. Great resource for if you're coming to the Tahoe area and visiting to see where the backcountry access points are for one, and just find some individual information out. For example, if you're going to the Brockaway Summit, you can find out that it's a plowed turnout for parking. It's free. It's a very popular place for touring, snowshoeing, sightseeing, and you'd be mindful of traffic. Versus if you're going over, for example, Job's Peak, you can find out that it's a free parking at trailhead. And then those are just simple tips to help you get around Lake Tahoe and understand the backcountry. You go to Luther Pass, you can learn it's a plowed turnout, it's free. And so things like it's a poplar zone, knowing that you're probably going to have to get there early to get in. Great resource if you're going backcountry skiing or interested in discovering more. Check out the Tahoe Backcountry Alliance.org. Yeah, just want to make sure we got that out there to everybody that your guys' website has upcoming events for trainings that are in the area. You have some fundraisers coming up. It sounds like, or maybe some from film festival opportunities to join and maybe volunteer. Maybe we could jump real quick here before we leave. Any volunteer opportunities that you guys are in need of, or do you guys have a group or a way for volunteers that get involved? Okay, that's great. Yep. Mm-hmm. Pick it up, get it out of there. I love that. I love that. I love that. Any other new information that you want to make sure we get out to the public this year about backcountry in the Tahoe Basin? It's looking like it might pop up, huh? Yeah. Very cool. Hey, if I could bring up one actual question, and you may not have an opinion on this, Homewood is closing down this year, not going to open up. You guys expecting any impact as far as backcountry with that? I mean, most of the guys are downhillers, but do you expect some? Yep, yep, yep. Oh, okay. Yep, cool. Cool. Sorry to surprise that question. I guess that was something I was thinking about before I called. You might have internet. Hey, Anthony, I end our program every time with three questions. I ask the same three questions to every guest. So I hope you don't mind if I tease this to be a little more personal for you. But let's say that the snow falls in November. You get a nice early season snowpack, if you will. Your bag is packed. Where are you heading? It can be anywhere in the Sierra. Where are you heading to go do a little skiing? Gotcha. Just gorgeous. I bet it is. I've only been there in summertime. I don't know how you guys get up there in wintertime. That's pretty special. Oh yeah, absolutely. I bet. Very good. All right, very good. So let's say you've been out on the backcountry, you and your dog for shooting some photos or skiing all day. You come back down the Tahoe Basin. You're hungry. What's the go-to joint or food choice in the region? Okay. So are you looking for burgers there, or is it tacos? What's the food choice here? Okay. Nice. My wife would be there for sweet potato fries. That's her thing. So absolutely, very good. All right. Well, then finally, and I think I'm going to know this a little bit better, but uh, gear. Yeah, there's got to be like a go-to piece of gear. I'll just stick with winter because that theme that you just don't leave home without. It's like I have to have this with me. I know we're talking about beacons and shovels and stuff like that, but is there a piece of gear that's like I never leave home without this piece of gear? Hmm. Yeah. That is fantastic. You got a favorite camera? Not without we're not they are our sponsors, obviously, but yeah, they're helping people out. The A1, that is a pretty nice camera. Absolutely, absolutely. And a kindred spirits here. That's one of the reasons why I still have social media accounts is because people just tell me they live through my photos too. So I completely get that. It's just kind of a way to help people see what's available to them out there. So Anthony, we want to thank you so much. Open invitation if you ever want to come back. If you guys have news that breaks this winter or need to get some information out, just let me know. Love to have you back on the show and talk more skiing and backcountry, and heck, next summer we can get you on some mountain bikes. Yeah. Absolutely, very much. Yeah, and if you guys are listening today, wherever you're at, I hope the Sierra is in your future. Winter is almost here. We're super excited. The first snow did fall. I'm heading to Yosemite National Park on Saturday with some friends for one last visit before they shut Tioga Pass down on me, probably. And but we can't wait to get snowshoes out and finish this fall hiking season and bring some more news next week. So wherever you're at, hope the Sierra is in your future. Have a great day. Join us next week for another show. Have a great day. Oh, and don't forget, our winter issues out November 21st. Have a good day.